Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video from the Luigi's Mansion series. I know that that video or that series just ended, and I said I was going to do a tier list of Boo names, and I thought while I was at it, I would go ahead and do a tier list of also the ghosts, the portrait ghosts that existed. It's not gonna be, it was the Luigi's Mansion game. It was on the GameCube. It's not gonna be like so in depth, but I do have a few rankings for some of these that I think would be kind of funny. Um, because a lot of the ghosts are kind of similar, but not really. They all have their own little things. But you know what? I just thought I would do it just to have a little end to the series. The booze names I thought would be kind of funny to look back on and kind of put them in a ranking because some of them were pretty good, some of them were kind of eh. But we're gonna start with the portrait ghost. This will be one video, I think, because I don't think it's gonna take that long. But starting off, I do have a window open to also tell me the names because I do not remember names very well at all, and that's how I'm going to know them because I'm horrible with names. So the first one we have is Neville. I don't know. We have this one. Um, and again, so these are the first ghosts that you fight, so they're not really meant to be very challenging. So the way I'm kind of looking at rankings is like how challenging were they? Were they fun to catch? Did they use any like special techniques like the fire, the ice, and the water? Um, like that's kind of my like thought process in it. Did I like the character design of it? So really these two I'm actually ranking pretty similar. I mean, they were the mom and the dad basically of the mansion. They were the first bosses you faced, so it's pretty average. Like they weren't terrible, but they weren't good either. So like I'm thinking like C. It's kind of like my like middle of the ground here. Like I wouldn't say they were necessarily super good, like S, A, and B, but they weren't horrible. They were the first bosses um, that you had to really fight. Um, so and the girl's name is Lydia. The mom's name is Lydia. Um, Next up we have Chauncey. Sorry, next we have Chauncey. He was your first area boss. Um, he was Area One's boss. He actually had a pretty like, so you basically had to like play with him. He wanted to just like throw a ball around or something, and you had to like suck the ball up with your vacuum and throw it at him. And then he was like, that I didn't like that." And then he had to go into a big crib, and he was a giant baby, and he was attacking you with big rocking horses and what else? Oh, more bouncy balls and stuff. So actually, he was actually kind of fun. I kind of like the aspect of like we grew tiny and he was like a big baby. So I'm actually gonna put him up in A. He was a good area boss considering you just started the game and these were your two like first ghosts you had to fight. And then you had to kind of go right into facing him. So it's kind of crazy to go from easy, super easy to a little bit more difficult actually. He was a good boss. I liked him. A. What are they called? The Floating Warlindas, I think is what their name is. They were the dance floor where the like shy guy looking ghosts were. I don't know if I really did like how you're supposed to fight them. Um, they were definitely tougher than these two. They were a little bit more annoying to like fight, so I think they are still C tier, but above the other two. They weren't tough, at all. Uh, the Butler Ghost. Butler Ghost was he was just walking in a hallway. You needed the fire element to get him into his like his janitor or his like butler room or whatever. But after you got the fire element, you just kind of sucked them up. So he did was the first one that you used the fire element on, but you didn't really use it like it wasn't really a point to it just to light the candles. And then he like ran throughout the hall because he didn't like fire. I want to say D just because they didn't they you just got the fire element, but you didn't really utilize it too much. I think D is a good ranking for him. He was a fun. I liked it. I liked it, but it just wasn't in terms of gameplay wise. It wasn't really all that. Um, the next one is Melody. She was the piano ghost, which I'm actually putting her up in B. She did ask you a question where she would play a song and you'd have to guess like what I think the one I had was it was the water theme, and it was like, what does this make you think of, or what did this make the author think of? And it was water, but it was like the water theme when you're in underwater in like Mario games. And there's actually a few other questions that you okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. We have been experiencing a lot of storms and it's been kicking our power on and off for a while now. So I think we just had a little bit of a power outage. But I'm back. I think we finish up with melody uh before I ended that. So yeah, just I like the little puzzly thing. I like the music. Boss wise, she wasn't anything special, but the stuff leading up to her was pretty good. Who we got next? Mr. Lugs. So this is the Buffagas. He was actually kind of annoying to fight because his attacks were pretty powerful. They kind of hit you hard and they kind of hit fast, and you had to be a little close to him when he did it to catch him. I think I'm not entirely sure. The way I played it, I was like right next to him, but he took a while, and he was actually kind of strong for being just like an area boss. Like he was like the big boss. He was just one of them. I'm gonna give him B. Yeah, I think B, low B is good for him. I think his name's Spooky. Spooky the dog. He actually hurt a lot too. If you got hit by him, he was powerful. He was like boom. He hit you pretty hard. Um, oh, was he better than Melodies though? I think he was in between the two. I think he was a good B ghost to fight. Um, okay, this is Bogmere. Bogmere was good. I mean, he was kind of tough. You had to get like the shadows and fire the shadows at him. I think I liked him more in B. In B, high B. No, I don't think I liked him enough to put in A. I think I liked like the baby one way more. Um, yeah, I think I liked the baby more than him. And I don't think I liked him enough to put him in A. He was just like you shot the shadows at him or whatever it was, and then you caught him, and then you went and sucked him up. For an area boss, I have those like higher and like a higher expectation, like Chauncey the baby. Like he was a good area boss. Bogmere was all right. He was good for an area boss, I guess, but not good enough to put an A. I'd say he's a B ghost. Um, Atlas, I believe. Biff Atlas. He was actually kind of different than a lot of the other bosses. You actually had to work for him a little bit with the punching bag. So you actually had to hit a punching bag into him and then catch him. Again, still not all that tough, but I think he definitely deserves high C above the arrest. Maybe even low B. Either one I think would be good. Okay, next is Miss Petunia. This is the first boss you're supposed to use the ice on, and all you do is you like freeze the water. And then she's like, "Ooh, that's cold," and then you catch her. F. She didn't have anything. There was nothing about her that was fun. There was something like you got the ice, you were supposed to use it on her, and it just was like so lackluster at the time. So F tier. Nana. Nana was actually annoying when I fought her because every time I tried to use the yarn, I would have missed. And she's annoying in the sense of if you miss, you have to restart the whole room. Like you couldn't do it otherwise. You had to restart the whole room. So I guess for that annoyingness and that like you had to hit her with it. Like I think you actually had to hit her 3 times before you could catch her. I would give her above Spooky, but below the other two. She's a B ghost. Slim Bank Shot. And I guess I want to also note about Biff Atlas. He's actually an optional boss. You don't have to catch him. You can if you want, but you don't have to catch him. um, so I guess putting him in B is also kind of fitting because he's an optional. Low B, he's an optional ghost. The next one is also an optional ghost, and that's Slim Bank Shot. And he kind of had the same deal with Nana, where you had to grab the pool balls and hit him with them. but just less like challenging, I guess. So I would say maybe putting him in high C, and he's also optional in the GameCube version. He's an optional boss. You don't have to face him either. Henry and Orville are actually, I would say, A tier boss ghosts, Portuguese. They're actually kind of tough because you have to face both of them at the same time, and they're just one's flying around the room, the other's on like a horse, I think, or a train or something. And they're actually like kind of annoying to have to fight one after the other in a tiny room. So trying to like fight them both at the same time while in a very small room while they're just like throwing things at you, damaging you, is actually kind of tough. I don't think I'd put them below. I don't think I would put them above the baby, but I think they definitely deserve A. Um, Next is Madame Clairvoya. Now, this one's kind of an odd one because like the whole point of her is that she's supposed to help you. And then after she's done helping you, she's like, "Okay, I'll go back in the portrait." And she just goes back and you just catch her. Like no problems. So, she's kind of hard to rank like in terms of a ghost, like she's super helpful, which is very odd because you don't want the ghost to be helpful. You want them to, you want to fight them. So, I mean, in terms of like a ghost and difficulty, she'd be like F tier, but I think I'll give her the benefit of the doubt in that she's like designed to actually help you. I'll give her low C because I actually kind of liked her character. Like I like the like you go up to the crystal ball, you shine it a few times, then she appears and she tells you all about like Mario's items and stuff. But as a boss, like as a ghost itself, F tier, lowest F tier, because she's just like, okay, I'll go back into my portrait. But I'll go up a little bit with my ranking with her because she had more like character arc than the others did. Like you talked to her at first, you didn't capture her at first, she told you some stuff, and then you would go back to her later and then fight her. All right, Bulasis, I'm on the fence about because so this is an area boss. This is Area Three's boss. I like what you have to do for boo losses. So it's a bunch of boos formed into a giant boo. And what you do with boo losses is you have him run into a unicorn statue or whatever, or the horn, and he splits apart into a bunch of boos, and then you have to freeze them. You have to freeze all the boos and catch them. Now, the annoying thing with them is that the boos act very sporadic in that they can fly all the way around, they can fly everywhere, they fly out of the map, and they're very annoying to catch. In this aspect, with this game being on the GameCube, I think that actually kind of works in its favor because it made it a little bit more difficult to beat the ghosts. I'm leaning high A, there we go. High A, potentially S, because this was actually a super tough boss if you didn't like if you weren't fast enough, I guess. Because sometimes the boos would just fly off to the edge of the map and you couldn't get to them. And there was nothing you could do. You just had to wait till they came in to the center of the map. So I think high A is good. I think I have one fight that would go S tier in this, and I think that one's close S tier, but definitely A for annoyance and actually difficult. And I like the ice to freeze the booze. I thought that was kind of creative because the first use of the ice was nothing special. So I'm glad that the ice made a big comeback later on. Okay, next one, Uncle Grimly. This was an annoying ghost because the clue that they gave you is that he likes mirrors. I went to the mirror room, literally the room called Mirror Room, and he wasn't even there. It made me so upset. He was in like one of the beginning rooms. I don't remember. It was like a wardrobe room, I think. I don't know how you would ever figure that out because the clue they gave you was he likes mirrors. So you go to the mirror room and it's just he's not there. So, again, not tough. He doesn't do anything. I think he just kind of lets you. So for I guess pure annoyance, I'll put him in low C because he was annoying to find and there was no good clue because I went to the little mirror room. But I guess they made you work to find him, and to get him, you also had to go through a lot of ghosts because the power was out. You could only find him in the dark, so you had to go through a lot of ghosts because they could spawn everywhere. So I guess I'll let because originally I was gonna say D. I'll put it up to C because of those two aspects. It was kind of tough to get to him once you knew where he was. Even if you knew where he was, it was tough to get to him because you just had thousands of ghosts spawning around you. So C tier for him. Toy soldiers. I actually like the toy soldier fight. So it's basically you vacuumed the wind up part of their back and you then catch them. There was three of them, so it made the fight a little bit more difficult. Kind of with like Henry and Orville, where it made it more difficult the more there were, and sort of it was a bigger room because there was three of them. Um, I think I would actually put them A tier because they were a little bit tougher as well. Trying to get them because if you were trying to catch one and you were kind of stuck in one place like you weren't moving and they just came up and bopped you, you were just oh now I gotta do it again. So I think they deserve A. I believe her name's Sue P. So this was the girl where you had to get like she didn't want to wet the bed or something like that. So you had to grab water. So use the water here. So bonus points for using the element thing to get her like to be angry and start to be able to be captured. She had items that flew at you, I believe. It's definitely better than a lot of these. I would say probably low B above Biff because of the aspect I'm giving the aspect of the element power. So we'll rank that up a little bit. Other than that, she's just a standard ghost. She had some items flying in her room, so that was new. The Jar Ghost, Jarvis. He's also an optional boss. Um, you play whack-a-mole with him. That's the best way I can describe it. Is that you play whack-a-mole with him. So it's kind of fun that you got to play whack-a-mole with him. I think low B would be good for him because I like the whack-a-mole aspect. Sir Weston is actually he actually has powers. So he's in an ice room. You're sliding all over the place. There's icicles on the top of the ceiling. His room was actually really well thought out. Um, and he's firing like an icicle like I don't know how to describe it. Like icicles coming up from the ground and they would go in a straight line towards you. So if you got like caught up, you would get hit by him. And then also had to use the fire element to melt him out of a big ice dome thing, icicle thing. So his room was actually really thought out. I'm thinking probably high B, maybe before. Actually, I think I liked him more than Bogmir. He's almost A, but he was a little bit too easy to get out of the ice. Like it didn't take long after you did like the first time. If that would have taken like the same amount of time each time, which I don't think it did, didn't feel like it did. I would say A, but yeah, he was probably the strongest one. But the like getting him out of the ice, not taking as long each time, kind of hurt it a little bit. If I had to like wait there and like throw fire at him for a long time, and then like have to go back and refill fire, that'd be a little bit better in my book. Vincent Van Gogh. He was the painting ghost. Pretty much after you defeat all the ghosts, he's pretty simple. You just gotta capture him. Like it wasn't anything big. Having to get through all the ghosts was a little bit annoying because there was like three ghosts per painting or something like that. But after that, I mean, he was pretty simple. I think I'd put him in B still, just because of the ghost fights. I'd say I put him below Spooky. Um, yeah, I'd put him below Spooky. I think. I think Spooky was a better ghost in my eyes than him. And then the last one, Bowser and King Boo. So it wasn't really Bowser; it was King Boo in a Bowser costume. But I mean, this was the ending boss fight. It was the best fight. For me, if when I tried to like fight him, I couldn't do it for some reason. I would go up to like the spike balls that he threw at you. I would go to vacuum them, and they wouldn't move. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. And then it started working. I was like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And then you just have to hit him. And while you were trying to capture King Boo, the Bowser head would be throwing like ice at you. It was actually a really good final boss fight for like the Luigi's Mansion. And again, considering like all these ghosts, they weren't the hardest thing in the world. They were just kind of annoying. But I would put King Boo versus Bowser up in S tier. I think it deserves that. I think it was a good final boss for the game. And it was a little bit difficult. It was a little bit difficult. Bowser charging at you, breathing fire, vacuuming you in. They had a lot of moves for him. Um, I think it was a good final fight. The good final fight. Well, that's that. my tier list. Definitely these two kind of bottom. They were pretty easy. I gave it C because she helped you. Um, but yeah, I mean this is kind of like average, nothing too spectacular. B is kind of average going up towards A. So it's kind of like, they're getting a little bit better, not bad. And then A is kind of like, oh, that's pretty good. They were kind of difficult. And then S was like, that was a good boss fight. That was a good boss fight. This video actually went a lot longer than I thought it was gonna go, so I might actually split the two tier lists into two separate videos: booze, names, and portrait ghost. So this is the portrait ghost. So be prepared to see the next tier list video, which will be the booze names. All the 38 booze, I think was the number. 35 booze? 35 booze, I think is correct. So that'll do it for this episode. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all on the next tier list video. Bye bye everyone.